You're watching Soccer Night in Detroit.
And from the grassroots of Detroit soccer all the way to U.S. Soccer's second division, this is Detroit City FC. Goal for Detroit City. What a play by Alec Wasinski.
Mundy with the right foot. It's in the back of the net.
Jupe curls in and bangs it in off the post. Antez Jupe, are you serious with that? Header!
All right, we are back for Week 7 USL Championship action as we get back into normalcy here, as we got done with the Open Cup and all that stuff for the two combatants tonight. The results did not go as well for them as expected, so now we're back in the Cup competition. But needless to say, this is a rematch of what we saw last year in elimination competition.
Yes, this is the first time both Detroit City FC and the Pittsburgh Riverhounds have met in a regular season. The first competition since that scoreless draw that came down the penalty kicks, and we wound up on the short end of the stick last year.
Yeah, unfortunately for Detroit City, they lost that one at Highmark Stadium. A very disappointing end to what turned out to be one of the tightest games that you could get there. Ended up, when they went to penalty kicks, a guy that's not going to be in the lineup kicked the final kick. Beto Drach kicked one right after Michael Bryant did, and thus Pittsburgh moved on. And of course, they ended up becoming the champions of USL, as you know.
Yes, last year was probably, I will say this right now, I have never seen in all my life of watching playoff soccer an entire team blank the entire side, no matter who it is, Rhode Island, us, Tulsa FC. They went on, they didn't give up a single goal in all four of their playoff games.
In the run of play, no.
No, and it was all thanks to Eric Dick and Sean Berber. Now the lineup's totally different. Both Dick and Tuber are long gone. Dick to Indianapolis, Tuber to Charleston Battery, and the offensive player, I see William went to Hartford. This team is totally different.
And definitely on the defensive end of things, right now they have allowed 11 goals on the year. They're forming their last 4 games in the USL, or last 5 is 3 losses, a win, and a draw.
Yeah, good for 8 place sandwich in between Indy 11, where Dick is playing, and the newbies Brooklyn FC after they won over Charleston last week.
Yes, and the thing is, like I said, the defensive depth has been definitely tested. They are short on center backs right now. Beto Drach, who, as we mentioned, scored the game winner in the shootout, and Guillaume Vactor are out for the game. Lassie Kelp is questionable after a head injury during the match against Red Bulls. So they are lacking very much so on the back line right now. So that's probably part of the reason. Plus, they got a new goalkeeper now.
Yeah, that haven't helped much.
Yeah,
they're probably getting up more than 2 goals per game. Almost 2 goals per game.
Yeah, Campazano. Yeah, right now, trying to think of looking at his stats right now. Campazano has 14 saves. His save percentage is 56%.
Ouch! That won't do. That won't do.
No. 0 clean sheets on the year for him as well. So it's per 90, he saves 3 saves or 2.33 saves per match. His goals conceded is at 1.83 on the year.
Ouch.
Yeah, so this is the guy that they brought in, a former University of Pittsburgh player, joins the squad, kind of a homecoming for him to replace a legendary goaltender in Eric Dick. And
Mm-hmm.
of course, not having, and I've mentioned this before. Your goalkeeper is only good as your back four, and right now Pittsburgh doesn't have much of a back four whatsoever.
I know. Unlike Detroit City, we have a solid back four led by Hiroki Yamasama, who was the team of the week last week in week 6 after a great performance last week against, I think, was it, forgot, Rhode Island, right?
That was that team that was owned by Tim Tebow.
Yeah, Jacksonville. I forgot. Oh, my God. I kind of forgot about that game last week. I kind of forgot. But
This is the third, this is the third in 8 days, and this is the last of that stretch here for Detroit City FC. And
yeah, like I said, they're going to have to concentrate now on the league and the USL Cup or the Tire Cup. I almost every time I was going to say the USL Cup, I'm going to say the US Open Cup, but nope.
it's all about the Tire Cup, which starts next week, by the way.
But we're
Detroit
not going to
City.
play it. We got a week off.
Yes, we get a bye next week. So our next action after this one is Louisville City on Derby Day. Yes, I'm calling it Derby Day, not Derby Day, Derby Day. This will be the first of 4 meetings with them.
And by the way, did you hear? It's going to be Mascot Palooza on Derby Day.
I'm wondering if they're going to have the mascot derby.
I highly doubt it.
I mean, are we able to take bets on it or anything?
I highly doubt it.
Oh, why not? I mean, that's what you're supposed to do when you're when you're betting on the when you're at the racetrack, isn't it?
You got that right, but this is not a racetrack, and oh brother, I've missed those days of Hazel Park and Northville. Oh my.
DRC.
Yeah.
Yep.
Too bad I didn't go to DRC, which is now the place, which is Millennium Park, where Meyer is at, and the Five Below, and the Home
Depot, and yeah, right across the street from Portillo's.
Yes, on the same block, by the way.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah, missed memories, must I say, but
yeah.
But let's get back to
let's get back to it. Detroit City has been coming off the front foot as of late, and let's just say, example, another goal by Darren Smith early on in the game against Jacksonville on Saturday. So scoring first has been a good sign for Detroit City FC.
Yeah, very much. He leads the league after last week with 5 goals. Oh, by the way, speaking of which, who's the leading scorer of Pittsburgh? Oh, wait a minute. It's not only Pittsburgh against Detroit. You know what it is?
Mm-hmm.
It's the Wolves! Chiefs coming back to Pittsburgh. Who's in the mix with 3 goals, and he won the Golden Boot back in 2023.
Albert Dequa came back to the Pittsburgh Riverhounds after a couple of years over at Rhode Island, so it's not really, you can't really say, war start, but they also got on that front line, they got Robbie Mertz.
Hometown kid.
Yeah, the hometown kid. Yeah, he's back in the lineup as well. Dequa with 3 goals. Robbie Mertz has 0. Let's see here. Sam Bassett has 2 goals this year for and another youngling from England, Elliot Goldthorpe, has scored this year for Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh overall as a team. Let's see. As a team this year, they have only scored 8 goals, but they have given up 11 goals.
I know, and we have scored a lot of goals too, but we only given up 2, thanks to Carlos Herrera being one of the leading goaltenders in the league with 0.4.
And you know who's and as I mentioned with Pittsburgh, you're only good as your back line. That's
Mhm.
been the calling card for Detroit City FC this year, is that back line. And I'll tell you what, I mean, without that front forward, and all four of them have played a key role there. As we mentioned, Yamazaki with the play with Team of the Week last week. Um, Colin Montgomery, really doing well. It's in the middle there, along with Devin Amu-Mensah and Tommy
Oh,
Silva.
Silva,
Tommy Silva's been playing some pretty good ball as well. Got Aiden
great
Stanley coming.
ball.
Yep, you got Aiden Stanley coming back into the lineup after an injury last year, and he's coming in. He's coming in filling in as a sub as well. But the thing is with Detroit City, we were talking about injuries with Pittsburgh. The injuries for Detroit City. We were talking with Danny Dicchio after the match on Tuesday night, and it sounds like some players are going to be coming back real soon.
Very coming back, like Tutunska coming back. Ben Morris,
Tabor
he's
Ataka,
starting trading.
I was going to say Tabor Ataka. You said to Ted down.
Sorry, I'm
Yeah.
sorry. I'm running off the cuff.
We
Me
just
not
signed Tatenda, by the way. But
yeah, yeah,
Tabor and Taka is 3 weeks away. Ben Morris is practicing, as you mentioned.
and Maxi Rodriguez is out with a re-aggravation. It would have been really nice. It would have been the battle of I used to play in Rhode Island, but we're not going to see that this week.
Yeah, but I doubt it. I mean, I would say, in my personal opinion, I don't think he should have started on Tuesday. To be honest, I think he would have been better off as a sub.
Yeah, I agree with you, but hey, it's the Open Cup. What
Hmm.
is
Yeah, and of course, I mean, Detroit wanted to, bring their best out there against a very tough, and they held their own against Chicago. They really did.
Yes, they held their own except for those 2 bad minutes. Or we would have been the 14th during Knock One Knocks and Colorado Springs and Louisville City FC.
Yeah, I mean, we had our chances, especially after the red card that came about in the 81st minute of play. So, I mean,
Yeah,
we
it
still had a
happened
good 14 or 15 minutes to get it into the back of the net, and that's
and
been the
by
problem with
and it
and of
happened
course,
by the way in front of me. Their red card happened in front of me.
and needless to say, I mean, the thing is too, I mean, it can't be all about Darren Smith, as you know.
Yeah, that's a good question. I brought this up in the pregame. Is the offensive minus Darren Smith? I know he's scoring all the goals, but minus Darren Smith, why are the rest of our forward not clicking? That's a good question.
Whether it be, I mean, there was a couple chances there. In fact, Darren Smith early on in that game against Chicago Fire, I mean, he had a couple chances there. It's like, where was his help? I mean, he could have easily just slided into somebody, and it would have been past Brady, and it could have been a whole hell of a lot of a different ball game at that point.
We could have been in penalty kicks, so
Yeah, either penalty kicks or either penalty kicks or possibly winning the game.
I know.
I mean, those were two opportunities that were missed by Detroit off the counterattack there, off their high press, of course. But still, it was just the fact that they found a way to break through that high press, make opportunities. It was just finishing it and all that stuff. You're trying to count on some guys to finish that stuff. I mean, of course, obviously, it's great to have Darren Smith score goals. Always is. The fact is, we got to find somebody else that's going to help him out as well. And and that Yamazaki move that from Tuesday night, that was probably one of the best. That was one of the best runs
That was a great impressive pass, by the way.
Yeah, that was the best. That was the best run I've seen since El Salou made that run in Brighton against Michigan Rangers to feed Atez Juve.
Mm-hmm.
So it's the thing they could create opportunities. It's just a matter of finishing them. And of course, I mean, it's not like indoor soccer where you can go boom, boom, boom. Next thing you know, you're scoring 8 goals. I mean, you can't really do that. I mean, it's a lot different in the bit on the big pitch as well. So Pittsburgh's pitch probably about as big as Detroit's, as you know. So it's going to be like cozy confines once again.
Yeah, like it's with a beautiful backdrop, the city of Pittsburgh, literally.
Mhm.
The sky,
But still,
yeah,
I mean, it's still cozy confines, but it's been a house of horrors for Detroit City in the past, as
you're
you
right.
know.
you're right. Detroit City have never won a game in the regular season. The only time they have won in Pittsburgh, the miracle in Pittsburgh with Dominique Grotko scoring a goal at the to
Yeah,
first of all, two upsets.
in the
One of them,
78th minute of that one.
yes,
Yeah, that was
you're right.
that was the only win in the history, and of course, the first couple times they've drawn each other, and Pittsburgh has had an event right now as far as the history goes. Two draws, two wins, or is it what 3 wins for Pittsburgh, including that disastrous 2-0 victory last year.
Yeah, that was a game where we only had a shot. A
Yeah,
shot.
one shot, nothing on target, and it was
Yeah,
and
and
that
that shot.
and with this Detroit team, it's far different than what the team that went to Pittsburgh last year.
Yeah.
And that second game was a real big slog until we got into penalty kicks. In fact,
Uh-huh. That was,
let's see. Let's go over the stats of that one from last year. As far as okay, little better on the shots, even though Pittsburgh had more shots and had more shots. 18. I mean, shots on target were 3-2, but you know, a little better on the possession, a little better on the touches in the opposition box. But in the first game in Pittsburgh, only 7 touches in the opposition box that game.
you're
It was
right.
a little better. It was a little better. And like I said, the defense held better in that game and all that stuff. Key here today for Detroit City is to get more touches in the opposition box because this defense for this year is far different than the one that we had to face last year.
You're right. Far
And
different
and take advantage of the injuries. Take advantage of the
with a whole new cast. A whole new
absolute.
cast.
Yeah. A couple guys not in the lineup because of injury right now. So this is a prime opportunity for Detroit City to flex their muscle, shall we say, in a place that has been a house of horrors as of late. So,
I
but
know
we got
that and Tampa Bay, literally.
yeah. Well, Tampa Bay's not really a house of horrors. I mean, we won there.
I know, but
You can't, yeah, so it's not really been a house of horrors, so we don't have to worry about that
I
as much
know.
as we got it. Alrighty, so we're gonna take a look at some other games that are coming up today. Some big ones here. One that's going to be on national television as we go and check out what's going on in the USL today.
Pittsburgh has not seen a night like this! For the first time ever, the Riverhounds, Eastern Conference champions!
But there's seconds left. And there it is!
Is there any time remaining? No! It's over! Detroit City! Lightning strikes twice! The A1 upset for the second time in 3 years! And they knock out the Shield winner on the opening night of the playoffs!
Going into today's action, different Charleston Battery team than what we have seen in the past, and well, they're in fourth place now, or no, they're not in fourth. I think they're actually
They're
well,
still in
according to FOTMOB, they're in fourth place. According to our little the actual table, they are sitting right now in the sixth spot in the Eastern Conference. So, and of course, Tampa Bay undefeated on the year. I mean, they've been playing some quality football.
I know, and both teams are coming off of negative results. Charlottesville, they lost 3 out of their last 4 games, including.
They lost to Brooklyn last week, 3-0.
How embarrassing is that? And
Yeah.
Tampa Bay had a 1-point draw against Oakland in a game that was so good as advertised.
Yeah, it was. It was good as advertised there down at Allen Stadium. But this time they go to Patriots Point right now for 7 goals in open play for the Battery right now. Emilio Yakaza is your leading goal scorer for them with 2 goals there, and Jeremy Kelly. So it definitely, the superstars are gone that they've had for the last couple of years, and it's a different atmosphere for Charleston Battery. If they can hold up.
And speaking of supercars, guess who's returning in the enemy uniform kit? One M.D. Myers, who was so key last year for Charleston. And
the last couple of years for Charleston, I mean,
yeah.
he was right. He was right up there as far as goal scoring goes. Whether it be a Cal Jennings or Nick Marcanic, he was right up there as far as the goal totals were.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, the big difference, Aaron Malloy not being there as well, so that's a huge loss for them. But Charleston seems like they got back into they're making us they're within shouting distance of the top 3 right now, so that's a kind of a good sign for them at this point. But let's see here,
Something
nothing
got
really.
hit tonight in the game, and by the way, that game is going to be on the CBS Sports Network.
Yep, the national premiere of the game of the week, or national USL premiere for the year on that channel. But not much really going on other than our game as far as the Eastern Conference goes, as far as big games go. So we travel out west, where El Paso Locomotive they have been on fire.
Oh yeah, undefeated, number 2 against number 3 San Antonio.
Yes, indeed. And, 13 points, 14 goals on the year for this team. And they just got off an Open Cup loss themselves. But
yeah. 14 goals, by the way, tied with Louisville City in the East in all of the USL.
Armando Moreno and Rubio Rubin are tied with 4 goals apiece for El Paso. And Rubio Rubin with the the top FOMOB rating there, and this El Paso side is is pretty good as far as scoring some goals. They're also pretty decent as far as not giving up goals. They only give up one goal per match so far. However, the team across the way, they're right up there with Detroit City as far as goals conceded.
You're right. They haven't scored in the last 4 games, according to the stats I was gathering.
But they haven't given up much either. They're sitting there at .40.
I know.
And that's because they have a five-man back line?
Maybe.
Yeah, they have a 5-man back line there. Blanco Suarez, this is the last time they played. Blanco Suarez, Tater, Cornell, and Ward. So they went with a 5-4-1 in their win against Lexington. So, yeah, this San Antonio side, I mean, they could, it's Copa Tejas, so anything can happen there.
Yeah. And they're going in Texas, by the way.
Yeah.
Not in Texas.
The Duke's going to have fun tonight calling this one.
Oh, yeah, man.
Yeah. Yeah, the Duke, of course, the legendary announcer for El Paso Locomotive. Local Roots is hosting FC Tulsa tonight. The defending Western Conference champions are traveling to the Oakland Coliseum. Of course, Oakland Roots had the draw the other night against or last week against Tampa Bay. This time around, though, they're facing an FC Tulsa team who's been, I don't want to say, they've been, let's just say, quietly just sitting there waiting to pounce on their prey a little bit.
I know. Well, remember last year they had a similar start before they went on that 13-game winning streak or unbeaten streak.
Yeah, and Luke Spencer, Louisville alum himself, has got this team. He'll get this team focused. He will, and I I think he'll be fine. I think they'll be fine. I think they'll be fine in the long run right now. So right now they're sitting in ninth place with a 1-2-2 record. Still early on in
Yeah.
the on the year, and it could be a good opportunity to surprise people. You know,
And don't forget, Oakland have their leading scorer, Wolfgang Prettit. He has 3 goals already. He's up
what
on
happened to
top.
Peter Wilson?
Yeah, that's the question. What's wrong with Peter Wilson? Why we haven't seen him on the score sheet yet?
Yeah, he hasn't scored a goal, and of course that was the main. You know, I mean, I don't know if he's accustomed to Ryan Martin's system over there or not, but I mean, it'd be nice to see him, bag a couple goals there. Prentice, as you mentioned, 3 goals right now. He's the leading scorer for them, and this Oakland Roots side. Oh, did I make I must have made a mistake there with SC Tulsa. They did lose. Oh yeah, they lost to. They did lose to Orange County last week by a score of 1-0.
Mm-hmm.
And Orange County, and of course Orange County sitting on top in the Western Conference. So speaking of which, they take on the team that everybody thought was going to be right there fighting for a spot. And what
They're
is?
turning into a pretender.
Yeah, exactly. They got these players in here. You got Philip Goodrum. He hasn't scored a goal yet this year. Aaron Malloy's only scored 2 goals this year.
I guess. Haven't
Yeah,
done a thing.
yeah. I mean, haven't done a thing really. I mean, last I was gonna say their last outing, they lost to Rhode Island by a score 3-1.
I know. Yeah, something is
So
wrong because they've been winless in the last 4.
yeah, and let's see. Yeah, Masaki Masaki Hemi, the coach, he came from the women's side to coach the squad here, and I don't know if he's got everything figured out on how to play all these players at this point. I really
Yeah,
don't know. And unless
yeah,
it's, their women's side is doing quite well, and that's where he came from, is the women's side.
yeah. You're
And
right. But the men's
it,
side is a whole different beast, I must
it's a whole
say.
different beast, especially when you sign all these guys, and I mean, it's not like they're you know they're sitting there. I mean, you've got Marcus Epps, Aaron Malloy, um, Philip Goodrum. I mean, you sign all these players on this squad. It's a matter of, are these players gelling or what's going on there? I
I
mean, they
have no.
6 goals on the air. Yeah,
And
six.
yes, and yes, this is match game 5. You should be gelling just right about now. But
Yeah, well, we thought that we thought that way with Rhode Island too. But then again, they were. I mean, at least be getting draws and stuff like that.
I know.
I mean,
Yeah.
right now, I mean, they're let's see, right now, 18th in scoring 18th in scoring with
Oh,
one
brother.
goal. Goals
Not good.
conceded per match, they're 13th at 1.30.
Oh, brother.
Yeah, and
And it's not going to
yeah,
get any better against the top
it's
teams.
not gonna get any easier against Orange County. Orange County's been doing some uh, fantastic football. Liam McKinnon,
Oh, yeah.
3 goals, no assists. In 6 matches played. I mean, he's McKinnon clearly the leading goal scorer for this squad right now.
Mm-hmm.
And the kid,
And almost every game
26 year,
yeah, almost every game we mentioned have a leading scorer in the Golden Boot race, literally.
yeah. I mean, he's right there. I mean, he's right there. He's got 3 on the year so far, and he's been their goalkeeper Alexander Rando 4 clean sheets on the year so far.
Mm-hmm.
They got a good back. They got Ben Alcazar, Tubbs, Brewitt, and War. That's a very good back line for them.
Uh-huh.
That is a very good back line for that squad. Currently, right now, they're sitting at as far as don't score a lot of goals, but they're very stingy. They're right there in the top three with
Mm-hmm.
.40 goals against per match, goals conceded per match.
Mm-hmm.
So, we're looking at, like I said, we're looking at this. I mean, we're seeing three of the top teams, and of course, we already previewed our game. So, three of the top teams in action tonight. So, going back, we didn't. Obviously, I went with the draw. You went with the win, and
Neither happened.
neither came to fruition on Tuesday night at Keyworth. So, needless to say, I mean, we could have. I mean, hey, I could have. We could have got the draw. Could have got the draw, maybe. But
Maybe.
maybe because I was thinking it was going to go to penalty kicks. But needless to say, that didn't happen. None of our contenders for pick the boot didn't happen as well. So starting fresh again tonight. How do you see this one?
Well, I'll say this right now. Detroit City will do a lot better than the Red Wings' last game of the season. Don't ask. But I am going to predict, like I said, this is a different Pittsburgh team, and I'm going to say Detroit City wins 2-0 over Pittsburgh. I think Devin Altamenta, who I picked the last game, will score. You know what I mean? And he always scores in those big games, and it will be their first regulation win ever in Pittsburgh.
Other than playoffs.
Yeah, other than the playoffs.
I mean, you got to get off. You got to get off that. I mean, and the way this Detroit City team is playing defensively right now, coming away with a draw would be a good thing. Considering that Pittsburgh can score as well. I mean, they got some firepower on that squad. They've scored some goals, and I mean, Dequan back in the lineup. That's good for them. Um, But I mean, it's like you got a lead offense. But the thing is, with Detroit City, as I mentioned, you got to find somebody else to score. You're hoping that Albert Equal scores. Um, I'm gonna say Detroit City. I guess I can't really say no draw. I really can't. Because that would not be fair to them. I'm gonna go with Darren Smith.
Okay.
1-0.
Okay. All right.
1-0. I think Detroit City comes away with the victory, 1-0. Darren, I'm gonna go with the highest player on the team right now, Darren Smith. I think he'll find a way to find the back of the net,
I know.
especially the way that defense is going right now.
You got that right, and I will say this right now. If the ball is near Darren Smith, he will score, I must say.
Yeah, it seems like he'll take it and put it in the back of the net instead of trying to create something on his own, like we said, like we saw on Tuesday night.
Yeah, or if he can't score, he'll pass it to a teammate and hoping they put it in the back of the net as well. So,
all right, so that's how we see it as far as that goes. Obviously, we could see this match on this, or where are we going to be seeing this match?
you're going to be seeing this match for free. It's on CBS Golazo Network. They did a good job doing a Golazo show for the U.S. Open Cup, like it did for the conference and the up until the semifinals for the European Cup. It's going to be on CBS Golazo Network. The game begins at 7 o'clock. I think it's their first prime time game. Well, other than the U.S. Open Cup, first league prime time game.
Well, they've been on CBS Golazo Network quite a bit.
I know.
They've been on yeah, and it helps too because right now, I mean, as you know, no local TV as of yet. So, we're thankful for CBS Golazo for providing it. You can find it on Roku, find it on Paramount Plus, find it on Pluto TV.
Yes.
Yep. Yeah, CBS Sports app as well. I forgot. Yeah, that's on there. So
As you probably know, we're the two unlucky teams that don't have a broadcast deal. The other is the Detroit Pistons. You know.
That may be changing. We'll see. I think the Pistons. I think the Pistons will be all right. I think they'll find a home somewhere. I'm sure they will.
Uh-huh.
We,
Yeah.
yeah. Hopefully, they can say, yeah, what the hell? Let's bring them on. What the hell? Expand that lineup for DSN.
Yeah, Detroit Sportsnet, home of the Wings and the Tigers. And although
Operated
that
by MLB.com.
yeah, you're right. Unfortunately, I still can't find it on my cable channel. I have an old school cable channel, so maybe I'm different. Who knows? Now that Valley Sports is going away, well, could happen any day now. Actually,
Yeah.
I saw a tribute video after the end of the last Red Wings game. It was very sweet. I highly recommend go to Ken Daniels' Facebook page. He have it on his page.
Yep.
Honestly, 31 years. Actually, going back to the old on TV days. Remember those on TV decoder boxes?
Oh God, Ken Daniels wasn't there back then, but
No, he was a sportscaster in Toronto, Ontario.
and he was on Hockey Night in Canada.
You're right.
Would you believe that we got two Hockey Night in Canada alums as our
Uh,
broadcast crew
I
for the
got it.
Red Wings?
I'm going to say this right now. We got Mickey Redmond first. He was paired with the late, great Dave Strader. And by the way, since we just passed Good Friday and Easter, he was the one of the announcers in the Good Friday Massacre. It was the infamous brawl between the Canadians and the Quebec
And the
Nordiques.
Quebec Nordiques, yep. Game
That
5,
game-
I believe Game 5 of their playoff series, I believe it was.
Yeah, I remember that game like crazy.
Mhm.
Everybody was fighting. They said, okay, cool it off. And then when they came back for the third period, oh, yeah, there was more fighting. Oh, my God. One of those bust up you
Sounded like a
never
Toronto Atlanta series back in 1979 or something, 78 or 79 or something like that.
Yeah, by the way,
78, 79, I think, because 78 we played Atlanta, and now the Calgary Flames, and we swept them, I think, in 3 straight.
and by the way, I got to tell you that was the game that the season after the integrator rule was applied. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yep. So, but okay, enough talk about hockey because our hockey. Yeah, I'm wearing a hockey jersey right now. But yeah, since our hockey team's not in the playoffs this year,
Yeah, they had a
yeah, they're the only team that did. They're the only team that didn't make the playoffs. Oh, besides the Lions,
Yeah.
10-year drought. 10-year drought. Wow, that's sad. Anyway, enough of the sad news. We will be back for after hours covering everything in the league and whatnot. And
And a
for
breakdown analysis of the whole game against Pittsburgh. Hopefully, it's a good result tonight.
hopefully,
And
we're
by the way-
hoping.
And by the
Need
way,
that-
we're not playing next week, so we'll be off for the next 2 weeks, except for the music.
Yes, except for the music. But we'll talk about more of that what we do after hours. So, okay, we'll see you then. For Steve over in Hamtramck.
Let's bring the boys luck and have a great weekend. And by the way, Coachella weekend 2 is on YouTube this weekend, by the way.
There's a couple big things coming up this weekend too. I think there's a little match going on Sunday afternoon, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, it's the Pistons playoff game. First
The one something beforehand too. That's gonna be That's gonna be something huge. We'll talk. Yep, we'll definitely talk about. We'll give props to that as well. Maybe give a score about what's going on. As we drop this video, as the proceedings go on over in.
I know what match is.
Over at Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. So we'll give a nod to that. See if the Spurs continue their demise.
Oh my God!
If you're laughing at this, you're a sick person, and yes, I am a sick person.
And yes, I'm a sick person too. Good night, Matt Cat.
All righty. We'll talk to you after hours. Until then, folks, keep your feet on the ground. Keep reaching for the galaxy. and most of all, be good.